One of the questions that I get very often is about mirrors. Many people believe that mirrors somehow can potentially either attract spirit energy or somehow trap it. So let's talk about that a little bit today. Hey guys, I'm at the historic 1886 Crescent Hotel, also known as America's Most Haunted Hotel. Many of the photos that are sent to me for analysis are of strange, shadowy, misty type figures that are seen in front of mirrors. But are they truly paranormal, or is there something else to that? There's a phenomenon called pareidolia, which is essentially the brain's ability to pattern match a construct to something familiar to them. In other words, have you ever looked up into the sky and seen a floating boat? Or perhaps you have seen the infamous Jesus on a piece of toast. It's not really Jesus on a piece of toast, and it's not really a boat in the sky. It is your brain's pattern matching ability. It is your primal urge to attempt to find meaning from nothingness. It's a survival mechanism. There are two forms of pareidolia that I think are particularly salient to paranormal investigation. One is visual pareidolia, the other is auditory pareidolia. We're going to talk about visual pareidolia in this video. A camera can only capture what it sees, and many times looking directly into the mirror can oftentimes reflect back things that the human eye may miss. One of the most common photos that I've seen taken in a mirror is of a reflection, generally, of a person. Now, when someone is perhaps on a ghost tour here at the Crescent Hotel and they're photographing the mirror, it's generally a little bit darker. The ambient light is generally lowered, and they're not really paying attention for the most part to the environment around them. So they're taking photographs of the mirror, but they may not be necessarily paying attention to the rest of the crowd that might be behind them, potentially partially reflecting in the mirror. Also, objects themselves, such as the stairs that I'm standing at the bottom of, walls, corners, pictures, all of those things can potentially be refracted or reflected in the mirror. And again, low light, you're taking a photo, the camera doesn't really have the ability to resolve fine detail in those with that low light capability. So oftentimes you will see an image that's slightly fuzzy, slightly blurry. Your brain then attempts to interpret that fuzzy or blurry image in a meaningful pattern. It's attempting to find order within the chaos. So most of the photos that I see, I believe very strongly, are simply visual pareidolia. There's things in the environment that the mirror is reflecting, the camera aperture and sensor is receiving, it's saving, and then your brain is simply tricking you into believing that there is something there that is not. Beyond the science aspect, there certainly are spiritual beliefs around mirrors as well. In fact, in several cultures, during times of mourning, people will often cover mirrors. The belief is that potentially by covering the mirror, it will prevent the spirit of the deceased individual from becoming somehow trapped within that mirror. Mirrors have also been used in other reflective surfaces for thousands of years for purposes such as scrying, visual dowsing, etc. In fact, here at the Crescent Hotel several years ago, during the ESP weekend, we conducted a psychomantium experience, which is essentially a sensory deprivation experience where there is a very dark room that you sit in. There is a mirror that's placed on the wall, and you sit about 6 feet away from that. There's very low light that is present in the room. There's just 1 or 2 candles. And the idea is that the longer that you sit in this sensory deprived environment and you stare into this mirror, the more likely you are to see things. Now, whether the things that you see are potentially real or not is up to you to decide. But many people report seeing and having different types of paranormal experiences after staring into that mirror for extended periods of time. I can tell you a personal experience I had in the psychomantium. I had been sitting down there for about 15 minutes. My eyes finally had acclimated to the darkness, and I began seeing a series of bright, flashing, colored orbs in the room with me. The room was dark. There was 3 candles, and that was it. So I know that it was either one of 2 possibilities there. One was some sort of visual phenomena, perhaps my optic nerve tricking me, or secondly, perhaps being in that sensory deprived environment, my body and my brain was more able to open up, to receive, to potentially be a living portal to something else, and that I was perhaps seeing the visual lights as some type of spirit energy. I don't know. It was a super fascinating experience, and it was one that I'm certainly interested in trying again. So when I'm trying to take photos in haunted locations such as the 1886 Crescent Hotel, I purposely try to avoid reflective surfaces such as mirrors, windows, and polished metal. Those surfaces tend to reflect and refract imagery around it. And after I get home and I download my footage, I may not remember exactly everything that was there. So I may see something and instantly think, oh my gosh, I captured something paranormal. I captured some type of spirit. But in fact, it may have a very, very rational explanation, something that was actually there in the space with me. But again, I really hadn't paid attention to, and I'm not able to go back and see it this time. I hope this short video about mirrors was helpful for you. And if you like this type of content, please be sure to smash that like button and hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. I try to post new videos every week. Thank you, and see you on the creepy side.